We see what manufacturer ASUS offers us for AMD's AM5 platform. It is the ASUS series that is aimed at basic computers, equipment that will not require much power, but durability and stability. We usually find this type of boards in office PCs that are used for office and multimedia purposes. But we could also consider some other board from this series for low-cost gaming configurations. It is also worth noting that although the Prime series is the most basic of all at the ASUS series level, the best exponents can be compared to some of the other ones. The other series that are on a higher step, but let's see what these ASUS Primes have aimed at AMD processors, specifically those on the AM5 platform. As we see, it is a series that has a wide catalog of models that will adapt perfectly to the different needs of users, and as is customary we see that the most basic models tend to be less equipped, which improves as we go up the step. We see, for example, Prime A620MA that implements the most basic chipset that the series offers, but that also is not implementing Wi-Fi. Something that perhaps later we will have in a review of it that does implement it, but we also see that among its PCI Express it only has a single form factor for 16 without reinforcement, but we see how this improves when we go up to the Prime B650MA Wi-Fi where said port is reinforced in addition to adding 2 extras of this same type, and it does implement Wi-Fi as it appears in its name. Then there is the Prime B650MA-AX that implements up to 8 SATA 3 ports and adds a PCI Express port for an extra 16. When we get to the B650MA WIFI 2 we see how the power input changes from being only 8 pins to being 8 plus 4 pins, also improving the VRM heatsink, which has a larger dissipation surface. Upon entering the ATX size ones we see how heatsinks are being added to both parts of the VRM. In addition to adding more phases to this one, we also see how a heatsink is added to at least one of the M.2 ports. As we see in B650 Plus, but those antennas have to be purchased separately, so be careful with that, since the X670E Pro is the greatest exponent among the Prime since it is the best equipped on a technical level as well as in its accessories. This already has two 8 plus 8 pin CPU power inputs with 16-phase VRM total of 70 amps. In addition, all its M.2 are dissipated, and it is the only Prime that at the moment has something that is exclusive to the ROG series. And it is easy to remove the graphics cards easily. We see how this is already beginning to be implemented in another series that is not the ROG among the ASUS. Apparently it will become a trend, and perhaps on next generation boards we will see it widespread, no longer exclusive to the ROG series. But it also has internal buttons for deleting the CMOS memory and for turning on. In addition to other technical aspects such as the audio chip that is brutally superior to that of its sisters, the Realtek ALC1220, while the others use Realtek ALC897, even the ATX size ones. Finally, this X670E Pro is the only one with RGB lighting since the others do not implement it, they only come with connectors for RGB LED strips. All this and much more makes it the best exponent among the Prime, to the point of rubbing shoulders with the best that the TUF series and some models of the ROG series and among the ASRIX.